in terms of spiritual possession, I realize that when you have a parasitic energy like worm, the worm becomes a host to negative energy. It's like a portal. If this, or if parasitic energy is there, even some negative, like some voodoo masters, black magicians, they can also attack the person, their thoughts, by sending the negative energy, but the negative energy will possess that worm or whatever, and then will have kind of access from within. You understand? That's how they affect the energy body, the thoughts and stuff. So it's very serious. And in Siddha teaching, in Taoism, and all these yogic teachings, the first step is purification. If your body is not purified, you will always have these draining thoughts, emotions. You'll be like weary, tired, sometimes, depleted of energy, because you don't know where your nutrients go. And they go there, or they can be some other pathogens. The other parasitic form is pathogens. It's basically toxins. And think about it, our air is polluted, water polluted, food polluted or filled with chemicals. So your body cannot just process this amount of pathogens, and so it starts inflaming. Inflammation is the result. It's an immune response. So when you're in an inflamed state for a prolonged period of time, your body is depleted of energy because you're trying to neutralize this depletion somehow, right? And so you're trying to eat more, or use some vitamins or some supplements, but they don't work because they're all consumed either by the body trying to neutralize these pathogens or expel them, or by the parasites that are present in the intestines, in the blood, in everywhere. That's why people age. That's why people drain themselves, because they have that. So once you restore, you can even eat a handful of food and you'll be nourished. It will be enough. So that's what I'm saying. And water also. Always add a pinch of black salt into the water. Don't just because drink, or if you have hot water, peppermint tea, or you can sometimes just have hot water and just sprinkle some, hot, I'm saying it's 120 Fahrenheit max, 120 Fahrenheit. So, meaning drinkable water, 50 degrees Celsius. You can sprinkle a bit of lime water if you want to flush, but the water has to always contain something, some minerals and nutrients, you understand? Otherwise, it's not properly assimilated in the body either. If you saw my video on plants, so when we have those substances in the blood, these plants, they kind of like a protective shield because they're in the blood, so they create this sort of an energy protective shield, right? But at the same time, the most important is to identify, is there any parasitic host? And so as I can see, I can sense it, you still have some kind of a parasitic energy, whether it's fungi or worms or whatever that could be, or some kind of a thing. So you continue doing that, because 120 days, which is 4 months, is a minimum. Let's say we had a meal and then we go for a walk. So we breathe, we oxygenate our blood, our lungs, everything. So that kills pathogens, because if let's say in a lung, like people who smoke, why do they have higher risk of lung cancer? But also people who sit a lot at home and don't breathe properly, they have more chance to have bronchiectasis or whatever, or lung cancer. Because there are areas in organs in the body which don't have really access to oxygen. And usually you find people having something growing there. It's usually yeast overgrowth, mold overgrowth, or some kind of a pathogenic area there, or it was wounded and maybe that's why it got open and the pathogens went there, like fungi, to eat it out, to finish it off. That's how it starts. And when we get enough oxygen into the blood, and through the blood it nurtures our organs and systems, so then all these areas receive enough oxygen. So these pathogens cannot survive. They thrive in CO2. They created pollution. So we would be having lack of oxygen in our cities and towns. And, I've noticed that people who, for example, have clutter in their houses, mold, dust, so they start having issues just because of having sedentary lifestyles, not walking, not breathing properly. So that area which does not receive enough oxygenation, or let's say does not get proper blood circulation through which the nutrients can be delivered to that area or nourished with whatever nutrients, oxygen, that area starts declining. Through that area, they start feeling something is growing there, right? So diet as well, it's very important during this time to at first there will be a battle. I can say for 2 months there will be a battle. There are moments you feel so fatigued, and this is a sign of discouragement. The pathogen, because if it's a living organism, it fights for its survival, so it needs to discourage you. And because they are affecting our nerves, receptors, this pathogenic energy is connected to the collective consciousness too. So you start having these all thoughts like, oh no, I must eat something sweet, or I must have this greasy food or fast food, or I must go for this and that. So they push you energetically through thoughts and emotions to get back into the pathogenic cycle, to support them, or to discontinue what you're doing. Oh, it must be herbs. Herbs are creating rashes. Herbs are making me tired. Maybe I'm not having enough nutrition. Your face might droop. It will become, like you feel like you're like dying as well. But it's because they're trying to suck the last of the nutrients. You have to continue. And they may create headaches. They may create some sort of, you don't even understand why you feel so depressed and down, like everything's great, because they want to push you to discontinue that intake of those antiparasitic deworming herbs or substances. And again, there are different substances. What I've discovered is that it's very important to, during this antiparasitic detox, to also take nutrients like spirulina, chlorella, kelp, ginseng, but know that these nutrients will kind of go waste, but still something will be left for you, because the parasites will try to take these nutrients at the same time, so for their survival. At the same time, you have to continue taking different types of, but even though, let's say you take kelp or ginseng, this is not the food they like. So yeah, they will hold on to that, whatever that is, at least for the survival, but they will not, their procreative cycle will be broken. The most important to understand the parasitic procreative cycle. And I've noticed that it's not a coincidence that yogis used to observe moon cycle, because parasitic energy, overgrowth of parasites, or their procreation stage usually falls onto the full moon, or they lay eggs, let's say, during new moon, and then there is a direct connection, absolutely direct connection between the moon cycle. And it's interesting, right, that everyone knows that during the full moon, you have a lot of emotions and thoughts. A lot of people go into binge eating, into addictions, addictive behaviors, obsessions, cravings. This is because the parasitic energy is active. Usually they are hatching. It depends, of course, could also depend on the individual cycle. But I've noticed through my observation, when you're a host to any type of parasitic energy, especially the living one, they will lay their eggs during the new moon, and they will hatch or have their procreative cycle during the full moon, especially. It could vary from person to person also, depending on their maybe lifestyle and so on. But these 2 points, the new moon and the full moon, are so significant. This is not a coincidence why we say, oh, the black magicians thrive during the full moon, and they do a lot of things, because there is some sort of a connection. The parasitic energy in the intestines, which is like worms or other bacteria, not bacteria, but the pathogens, they are portals during this time. And so when you know that, you have to, that's why yogis suggest to do the purifying, I don't know, the actions, let's say detox, right? For at least 4 months. So it's 120 days up to 1 year, usually, depending on what people have in their bodies, what hosts they are, what they're hosting them. And so say, I would say that you will notice when you are in a battle, in a war with these parasitic energies, that you will have issues during the full moon and new moon, especially because now you're in direct warfare with these pathogens. And especially if these also pathogens or parasites were connected to some kind of an occult affliction or influence in your life, you know, or there were some kind of attachments there on a spiritual level or a subtle energetic level, because it's all interconnected. So it's not just like, okay, parasites are just living beings. No, they're hosts or they're portals to the parasitic energy within the collective, within the bloodline, so on and so forth. So now, when you notice this, so you need to give it at least 3 to 4 cycles where you kill, because the parasite and parasitic larva or eggs or whatever they lay there, because they will actually activate. That's why you look like pale and all during the time, because they vampirize you even more. They suck everything, because their survival is threatened. So they start sucking everything out of you so that they survive and they have their offspring ensured that it will stay. So they just start procreating even more intensely. So during this time, you might say, okay, after 2 cycles, it seems like I've just lost my, you know, nutrients. I look pale. I got dehydrated. I have this and that. Is because your body is fighting and they're trying to suck everything possible to just procreate even more intensely. They might even, you know, procreate twice in 1 cycle, because now their survival is threatened. So during the time, you might feel even worse. But you have to know that this is going to take place. So you have to have this inner conviction, that courage, no, I will continue no matter what, and continue flushing down all these toxins that they emit while they die. You know, they produce the toxins, or also emit the toxic energy within the body, right? So you might feel depressed, or, you know, like kind of can have mood swings and stuff, cravings. So you have to know this. Once you're aware, it's easier to battle. You just know it's a process. It's going to pass. So during this time, they try to kind of not, they don't try, but they produce a lot of toxins. That's why you need to have charcoal. You have to flush down that toxic material or elements with castor oil, with some kind of mild laxative. So you have to have, you know, some herbs like milk thistle also to support the gallbladder and liver. You have to have lime water with a pinch of black salt, or some kind of foods that are easily digestible. Mostly it has to be also a supportive diet. The supportive diet in this case is something that doesn't make them thrive, which means no sugar, no sweet substances. You can have peppermint tea. Again, peppermint is a substance that is antiparasitic. So even if you have nutrients, you take nutrients and food, afterwards you take something that neutralizes any or brings kind of the end to these parasites, because they don't like the substance. Let's say if you have a herbal tea after the meal, you actually, this peppermint tea, let's say, or some other type of herbal tea, it has a bit of bitterness, and so bitterness doesn't allow them to thrive. They come out to take your nutrients, and there they receive the peppermint or wormwood or something like that. So this is the way to go. After 2 months, this battle will be easier, because now you're basically battling the second or third generation, which is just eggs. So when eggs or larva doesn't receive nutrients from the body, from the blood, so they can't really hatch, or they're weak. So it's easier to, neutralize them and flush them out. So then when we deal with parasites like mold or fungi, the same thing. They thrive on sugars, and once you stop having, once they subside, the growth is interrupted and they don't procreate anymore, they won't have that soil, so to speak, to thrive in or to sprout out again. So they will be neutralized as well, and because they can't really thrive in your organism, they'll just come out with the stool eventually. And the blood gets purified the same way. So when you intake, say, neem powders or brahmi or wormwood, different types of wormwood, right, or mugwort or something else like that, it purifies blood because it kills those spores or those whatever is in the blood, the pathogens. It just flushes them out. And so then your digestive system, digestive fire increases, digestive system gets normalized, and all the organs that could be, infested with whatever worms or pathogens, they get purified. So you start having really like a healthy hunger then, and then whenever you eat, you feel like even you have a little bit, you get nourished or satisfied with that, and you no longer have these cravings, or your mind just is clear. Your mind, your state of, like, your nervous system gets pacified. So also in the evening, I would recommend, yes, charcoal too, but also ashwagandha, and a teaspoonful of ashwagandha, which could be taken with very good probiotics, especially after the 2 months of battling with the parasitic energy and detoxing it. So after 2 months, you may start taking good probiotics. So the charcoal is recommended, castor oil is recommended only in the first 2 months. But in the further stages, you can still take them from time to time. But after 2 months, in the evening, you can start taking ashwagandha with this probiotics. You will sleep better. You will stop having anxiety during the nighttime, because I heard so many people say, oh, my Kundalini is awakened, so I'm having all these, like, I'm very weary and tired during the day, but then at night I can't sleep. It's because during the activation, actually, the pathogenic flora is activated too. And so they start having nervous breakdown, anxiety, issues with sleep, when the reason is very, very simple. In most cases, it's the pathogens and parasitic energy, which must have penetrated very deep, not only in the blood or intestines, it could also must have settled down some in organs or suppressed some nerves endings, and that's how they feel strange. Many times parasites affect our mental and emotional state. So people sometimes say that they have psychosis, psychotic episodes. The reason could be as well parasitic, pathogenic parasitic environment in the gut, in the blood, in the organs and systems. So once you battled with this parasitic energy for 2 months, you start taking ashwagandha, 1 teaspoonful at night with warm water, and that's probiotic. And you will sleep very well. Your cycle, meaning day and night cycle, will normalize. You will have, instead of having cravings, food cravings, or some kind of desire for sweets at night or in the evening, you will start having just normal, healthy appetite in the morning. So all the systems will readjust. You'll sleep well. You'll stop seeing nightmares. you will start being so peaceful, naturally meditative, naturally relaxed. A lot of people who suffer, struggle with anxiety, nervous issues, they get very irritable, is because there's something wrong with their body in terms of they are a host to some parasitic energy. So, and only either a very experienced health practitioner who is not on a payroll for prescribing chemical medication, or a spiritual practitioner can identify the presence of this type of parasitic energy, or the type of parasitic energy, what is it, or a combination. So it's important to continue. So the first stage, as you understood, it's observing, letting go, not reacting emotionally, understanding that you're battling parasitic energy on the physical and on the subtle. Actually, you will perceive it more on the subtle, because physically you can't sometimes feel what is going on. But you will see that you're depleted, you're tired, you're depressed a bit. After you've battled them, now you need to detox, you need to normalize your gut flora. So in that case, you can either take natural probiotics, prebiotics. Once the parasites are out, the body kind of balances itself out. So, and the first sign, you're very tranquil. You just like, you chill. There is no, you stop being reactive to reality, because that which reacts is no longer there. And that which reacted seems to be, oh, how could a worm or some kind of a parasite affect my mind? Well, very much. And so once you sometimes feel anxious because they are pressing some nerves, or they're affecting the body, they're eating it alive, and you don't know what's going on. Maybe there are no direct nervous receptors there, so you don't really, there's no symptom, but there's some kind of a restlessness. So these are the signs of the presence of the parasitic energy. So you start being just by default meditative. That's why in spirituality, you shouldn't even attempt to learn anything on an intellectual level or subtle level, because you have to lay the foundation. So the detox, the tranquility, the natural contentment are the base. It's like a foundation. Then you become receptive to receive the higher levels, the higher frequency vibes or vibration, the natural kind of higher. You become attuned, because your body is no longer disturbed from within. So you become more receptive. You you understand without even trying to understand. It's like you receive that calm energy, and that calm energy starts nurturing your body, transforming your cells. Everything is just, this transmutation alchemy happens from within, because it happens because of the connection with the source. So you start receiving and hosting, instead of parasitic energy now, the higher frequency, right? That's how the alchemy happens. Yes, it is true that it's all through the upper glands, but when the person spends all the energy to feed parasites, or to neutralize to try and neutralize all these emotions and thoughts, how can they even focus on higher matter or activate their higher upper glands? Because those glands will be disturbed. All the glands, all the systems, all the channels will be disturbed. That's why, for example, in yoga, there is such a saying that you're doing the nadi shodhan, which is the purification of nadis. But nadis are channels. What are you purifying them from? From negative energy. But who is the host of negative energy? Parasites, which are on the physical level too. So it's not, so the presence of the pathogenic energy or negative energy on a subtle level coincides with the presence of pathogens and parasites on the physical level. And so that's why what's above, so below. It's just but natural. Now, when the above is purified, cleared, healed, whatever you call it, the foundation is laid. So now all you need is just to maintain that cleanliness, purification. In yoga, it's called shaucha santosh, cleanliness and contentment, because they go hand in hand. these are 5 rules, because without that cleanliness, you can't actually be content. You'll be always disturbed from within. And so now you are receptive to receive high knowledge. That's how it all goes. And so what I'm doing now is I'm trying to put it in perspective for you, because now you're aware. So once you're aware, you can really discipline yourself and make a clear plan what you do, when, and what is there to expect. And it is unbelievable, because during the battling or this battle time, you might wonder, why do I have all these itchiness? Why certain, pimples come again? Because now, like you wrote me, I've done this detox for 2-3 weeks or whatever, a month, but then all of a sudden after the second or 4th week, the pimples came back. Yes, because now the blood is throwing this out through the skin, through the stool, through the urine. So even if it's a woman, it will her womb will be discharging also all these different pathogens. So it's unbelievable how our body works. Like, as I observed it on myself and other people during the purification process, unbelievable things can happen. You just wonder, how could I even contain this thing in the body? So, and if your blood has some ruptures or it throws something through the skin, it means it gets detoxified. You can have sometimes the increase of pimples, but let them be. Continue doing what you're doing, and you will really see a different result. You'll emerge like a different person, like a person you've never known. Because if all your life you're struggling, which is the case for the majority of people, all our lives, we suffer some sort of a parasitic infestation or infestation of pathogens through our environment. As children, people have, lice, people have external, internal parasites. Sometimes they get bitten by ticks, or I don't know, they get worms in childcare. So since the beginning, and we don't know. Yes, our immunity is strong, but then we start growing and we don't know how much is left. Then we start going into, sugar addictions and whatever other addictions and obsessions, alcohol consumption and stuff. And so we just keep up or continue, how would I put it, like nurturing the pathogenic flora or giving life through our lifestyle and diet to these parasites. And then we start wondering what's wrong with our, mind or emotions. Why are we so emotional? Why are we so we take everything personally? Why are we so reactive? Why everything is so disturbing? Is because there is irritation from within. So it's you have to go through it. And unfortunately, I cannot force people. They say, okay, if I just receive your transmissions or I know something intellectually. Well, if you really want to grow spiritually, evolve spiritually, really become that vessel of yoga, meditation, natural spontaneous meditation, purity, health, intelligence, humility, gratitude, all these things, you have to purify your body. There's no other way. And it's so simple. Think about it. If you take 4 months to, let's say, 9 months of or even 12 months of your life, it's nothing. So it's a choice. If you take and dedicate this time to self-purification, you will also restore the so-called healthy appreciation of oneself, of yourself, right? You will restore self-love, which is not pathogenic self-love, like the selfish. So it's more like, I appreciate my life because I feel such bliss from within, such contentment, such purity, nothing bugs me. That should be the result. Then you know for sure, now you are ready for subtle purification. Now all you need is only to dissolve some sort of ideologies, belief systems, some sort of ideas about reality. But it's so much easier to do when you aren't bothered by the parasitic energy or something sucking your nutrients or depleting you, making you age, creating pains in your body that you can't identify, or you just sweep it under the rug. Oh, autoimmune disease, migraine pains, fibromyalgia, allergies, all are related directly to the presence of pathogens, toxins, parasitic energy, worms, parasites. And those create a room for parasitic consciousness because they are the host. That's how people get possessed easily. Then they say, oh, it's a bipolar disorder. Oh, it's a borderline. Oh, it's a spiritual possession. Well, the spiritual possession cannot occur in a healthy human being. A healthy human being doesn't have parasites, doesn't have overgrowth of fungi in their body, not at least in their blood. Yeah, our flora may contain some, but they are just there for a purpose, but they don't overgrow. So now, when you're a healthy human with a healthy system and body, you can't be possessed. You become your own autonomous spiritual being. That's how you can cultivate light body and spiritual essence, because you don't lose energy. You don't have to, wonder why you have certain pains. And then all these practitioners, yoga practitioners, they have pains, they have aches, they have all kinds of issues. Why? Because they started it all wrong, on the wrong foot. They started from the head when they're supposed to start it from down below. Of course, the head and down below, they're all connected, but it has to be in alignment. That's called yoga. So you have to understand that it's all together. And you cannot have peace of mind to work with very, very subtle corrupt patterns or even identify them, identify corrupt beliefs. You will be full of thoughts and emotions when you have parasitic energy. So you have to get to the thoughtless and emotionless state. And you can get to it only when you sever the links with the parasitic energy in the collective through yourself, so that you can't get possessed by those thoughts and emotions, those pathogenic parasitic waves, because there is no host inside to host them, to affect you from within. There's no portal. Nobody can attack you psychically. They can try, but they will not succeed because there's no link, there's no bridge. There's, all the magicians, all the attackers and harmful, evil, demonic servants, they use hosts. If they cannot find naturally that portal through the presence of the parasitic energy, through the bad, negative lifestyle, parasitic lifestyle or diet, they will poison. That's why they put that little pathogen, consecrated pathogen into somebody's food or drink, or they create some kind of a connection through their clothing or hair or whatever biomaterial. And they try to push that person into toxic then lifestyle by suggesting negative thoughts. So the person goes, does something, and then they become a host to parasitic energy. Then for those evil people, it's so easy to connect energetically to the parasitic host, and then they are influenced from within. That's how they ruin the lives of people from within. And people think that it's normal to have thoughts and emotions. Or spiritually evolved beings, at least on some level, when they have gone through the preparational stage, they don't have thoughts and emotions. That's the foundation. If you have thoughts and emotions, you're not ready for any higher spiritual knowledge. Because our natural being is thoughtless and emotionless. Not because you suppress, not because you dissociate it like a crazy person dissociates. Some people, who have disorders, they can dissociate. It's not dissociation. It is presence, awareness, but it's empty, free from thoughts and emotions. Then you start really receiving higher frequency. You become the host of higher frequency rather than the parasitic energy. It's a must. So if you are an aspirant, if you want to grow spiritually, understand something, you're on the right path, in the sense that all these steps that you're doing right now, they are leading you to that purity. Because spirituality is but about purity on all levels. We have to sever those cords. And people say, I'm meditating, I'm severing the cords. Well, okay, mentally, yes, you're severing the cords. It's like an affirmation. Emotionally, you're affirming something. But you have a host that gets possessed by that negative energy and becomes a bridge, becomes a portal into your system. So someone can harness your negative energy or positive energy, whatever energy is, not harness energy in general, not negative, it's just energy, vital energy, the essence, spiritual, conscious essence. So, and sometimes it's not even a magician, it's just that you may say the negative cluster within the collective, because it needs your conscious support for survival. Otherwise, how on the collective level this energy would survive? Through the hosts. They have hosts. The physical level, on the subtle level. That's why you're like a host to worms. Thoughts and emotions are nothing but worms, nothing but pathogens crawling there in your mind and in your body. Or sucking the energy from energy. What is energy? Nutrients, right? Nutrients from the blood. That's why you decay, age, and the majority die in agony, because their nutrients have been sucked dry. They've been sucked dry of the vital energy on the subtle level and on the physical. Then what is there left but to drop the shell? So who are the masters? You know, these always say, oh, there are spiritual masters. Well, they've been sucked dry. But whatever, either the entities they've been serving or the magicians who have been sucking them because they thought they were spiritual teachers, but they ended up to be magicians, and so on and so forth. You have to close the doors. Then you become a spiritual master, spiritual entity, and you don't need to show anyone then anything, because you know those who have eyes, they see. So that's the truth. That's all I can say. But keep going. Peace is your like a like a measurement, you know. If you can't be at peace, then what are we speaking about? If you can't be thoughtless, what's going on? And people say, oh, I'm thoughtless and I'll forget everything. Well, awareness doesn't forget anything. How can I speak? Yeah, well, I speak. This awareness speaking. That's where there's transmission. If you transmit your parasitic thoughts and you say you're doing Shaktipat, that's a curse, you know, because those who contain parasites receive parasitic Shaktipats. They establish links with parasitic energies, you know, in the name of spiritual transmission, spirituality, Shaktipat. But it's big, and when people are known to be cursed, which is almost everyone, cursed meaning from the past, from the bloodlines. I'm not saying that you're a bad person or someone is a bad person, they've done something this life. They might not have done anything this life, but you know, the bloodlines, you know, something's gone wrong at some point, right? Everyone is tangled with everyone at this point of time. So now, when you do this purification, you also free your bloodline of this, or you help them to ascend. At the same time, you can transform genetically, because when you become a host to divine energy, to spiritual energy, you start transmuting your genetic material. So everyone will feel it like in a ripple effect way. You know, they'll perceive, they'll also start awakening, you know. Now, when there is a curse, it means they have connected to the negative energy somehow through their actions, through their participation, whichever, you know, in the past. So they've created the links. And when you receive intentional something from someone, and you open your system to them, whether they're psychics, whether they're whoever, so many self-proclaimed charlatans, clowns, and goons, but they're there, very popular. Why people vibe with them? Because these people are also the host of the same parasitic energy, the same frequency. So it's like attracts like, right, in this case. Sometimes opposites attracts too, but not for long. Like attracts like. So the parasitic host will attract parasitic energy. Parasitic mind will attract parasitic spirituality, demonic, which takes you out of yourself into the projection. Worship me, give me my energy, do me this. The same way as parasitic energy within it takes all the nutrients by pushing you into reckless actions, restless, anxious, mentally, emotionally imbalanced actions. So now, true masters are at this point almost inexistent. And when people tell me that, oh, this person was a true master, no. Maybe they've discovered a natural being, but their body, what happened to their body? It was sucked dry. Either by occultists, either by a demonic negative energy. It doesn't really matter. The name doesn't really matter. What matters is the fact. So if you don't battle the parasitic energy, demonic energy, you know, when people say they're fighting with demons, it's true. Who are the demons? The parasitic energy, negative energy. You don't need to go into mythology and try to, you know, it's not creatures with teeth, it's the energy. And so when we try to understand this on a spiritual level, we have to understand that we always deal with energy, with the frequency. So whatever, that's why I say, like, don't talk about yoga, be yoga. Don't speak about meditation. Oh, I'm sitting with eyes closed when parasites are sucking you from inside. Be meditation, be absorption, be that peace and love and divinity. But how can you be if someone is sucking you out? It's like leaky gut. The same thing. Also, parasites bite through the walls of them, and then they have leaky guts. Just get rid of parasites, everything will heal. So these people were not masters. Very rare people are masters. And how they become masters, they neutralize parasites. They know the art of shielding themselves from the negative energy. And they become kind of like isolated because they are protected by their own purity, by their own, that's the Siddha masters like this. And the word doesn't matter. Siddha means just a purified, perfected being. But why perfected? Because they closed the doors, severed the, you know, links with the collective negativity, pathogenic existence clusters on their personal level, no collective level. It's not anymore traveling. So they became like their own spiritual entity. No one sucks them dry. No one enters. But then their vibration changes. So they kind of become like outcasts from the world, because that's why they're known to live as if in a different yuga or in a different cycle, because they close the door to that older cycle. First purify the body together with the, you know, nervous system and energy body, and so then dissolved all these corrupt patterns, so they open up to the higher knowledge. What is knowledge? Frequency. It's like, you know, without really putting it even into words, it's just awareness expanded. That expanded awareness aligned with the physical body, so the physical body became the vessel, the embodiment, right, of the higher consciousness, knowledge, vibration, power. And that's how they ascended. That's how they liberated. These masters are not known, because the known masters are the parasitic masters, because they are in alignment with the collective parasitic energy, with the people who are the parasitic host. If your soul doesn't thrive, doesn't strive for purity, you can never come across any true knowledge, and you can never come across the way internally, the way to purification, you will be deluded by your own thoughts and emotions. Basically, adding or being a part of the social madness. Whatever we accept for normality now, it's an absolute delusion of madness, but because it's so socially accepted and collectively accepted, because that's the predominant energy, the parasitic is the predominant energy. So that's why everyone thinks that that which is of purity it's not interesting, it's somehow vague, it's not, we can't vibe, there's no link, right? So you have if people have the link with the parasitic energy, that's understandable because they can relate to it. Relation again means the link. How can they relate to the higher frequency if they don't resonate or are that higher frequency? Their soul could be a bit of that frequency on some level, but if they are host to parasites, the parasitic energy will dominate and take their attention elsewhere to the collective projection, towards the dispersion of energy, towards the feeding of the parasitic realm. And so it's very difficult to ascend because it means you cut the relation, you cut the connection. That's what the true renunciation means. Not by putting on some different color robes or demonstrating something. True renunciation means detachment. Detachment means no relation to the collective parasitic paradigm. No relation. That's it. That's why the aura, which that spiritual vibration becomes so powerful, it repents, rebukes, repels everything negative. It can't even come close because there is no relation, no link, no portal, no connection. So that's the goal. And if there is this connection, there will be disease. Disease means the portal through which the energy escapes. Parasitic worms or whatever pathogens, those are portals. These are portals through which the energy escapes to the matrix, to the negative paradigm, and feeds it. That's why the person will be aging. Even if your body, sorry, not body, but the soul tries to ascend and maybe you understand some spiritual matter, you're still the host to the parasitic energy. You haven't cut the connections because there was no master to teach them, or their consciousness wasn't of that level to understand itself, to find the path. This is the biggest point here in spirituality. To have that grace of who? Of your own higher consciousness, to find the path. This Shaktipat then is true grace. This is a real Shaktipat here. When your higher consciousness reach that level of, or your consciousness reach that level of purity, that the higher consciousness of your own being, of the collective existence bestows the realization of the path within. And that's how you slowly start changing your lifestyle, detoxing, and preparing your body, first of all, because it's a fruit to host this higher frequencies. Otherwise, what is going to happen to the fruit? Worms, other elements of this reality will come for it energy. And if we don't understand, we cannot, this very point, we cannot even ascend from this realm. There is no way to go into any higher existence or cycles. It's just but a human delusion. They created different, practices, spiritual practices, schools, religions, all just to keep everyone in delusion. Spirituality is natural and simple, but simple solutions sometimes are not easily found because the mind is gliding along the surface and looking for the solution in all the wrong places. Why would you look for a spiritual knowledge, a solution from let's say, a sick doctor or a sick and rotting alive person who claims to be spiritual, but they're rotting alive? You have to be strong yourself to be something. And when you are something, you chill, you're just on your own. You don't need to prove anyone anything. That's what I'm saying. The best doctor is the one who healed themselves. The best, not the best, but there is no such a thing as the best, but it's just in terms of doctor, yeah, the best doctor. But like in terms of spiritual evolution, those who master themselves, at least on some level, what does it mean to master on some level? Meaning they understood the way creation works, at least on this level or whatever level. They know in silence, they understand, they mind their own business. They don't interfere because everyone has to search themselves, to seek that solution, to try to find, because when your consciousness is tuned, you want to find the solution, means you're seeking, right? Your attention goes to, I need to find the solution. You will find, because your focus is there. If you're focused on supporting your parasitic lifestyle, ideas, spirituality, you'll just, you'll be deluded and even like full of ego and smartness. I know it all. Yeah, I know some technique. Keep on blowing your nostrils. Keep on twisting your body. Keep on kicking as long as it kicks. As long as the parasites are still eating you, all is hunky-dory. Good luck, you know. It's not arrogance, it's just the reality. The reality for those who are trying and failing. But for those who overcome it, that's the clear cut. It's a clear path, you know. Mm. So in order to come to this clear path, you need to make an effort. And some people think, okay, I need now to spend 20 years. Well, 20 years for the overall purification may be dissolving corrupt patterns, depending on your situation, your karmic baggage and your evolutionary stage. But the physical purification doesn't take that long. If you realize what I'm saying and you apply it, you won't need more than a year to set the foundation. And then you start subtle purification and you just let go, let go, let go, let go. Within. You can enjoy life, but in a let go kind of a way, you know? And you think that, okay, somehow life is happening effortlessly. That's the mindset of a true adept. That's how you become a true adept. You accept that you have to let go of everything. Not directly, but within you, there are no attachments and connections. You can enjoy your meal, but you don't need to relate and crave and be obsessed about it, right? Just, it's there. Okay. Great. No longer need any meals. Perfect. Enjoy your life.